The emergency session had been called within minutes of receiving the transmission, but Council Speaker Morgantha was beginning to suspect that no amount of emergency sessions could prepare the galaxy for what humanity had just announced. Her 6 eyes focused on the replay of Ambassador Sarah Chen's message, each viewing sending fresh waves of dread through her ancient consciousness. To the Galactic Council and all member civilizations, Chen's recorded image said, with that same unsettling calm that had haunted diplomatic nightmares for the past 8 months. The United Earth Coalition formally withdraws from all galactic diplomatic protocols, effective immediately. We will no longer participate in negotiations, mediations, or council proceedings of any kind. The message had lasted exactly 37 seconds. No explanation, no demands, no negotiating positions. Just a simple, devastating announcement that humanity was done talking. They can't just stop diplomacy, whispered Ambassador Zeth Kree, his bioluminescent patches cycling through patterns of confusion and terror. That's not how civilization works. Dr. Youthgol, frantically scanning through his xenopsychology databases, looked up with an expression that suggested he'd found something profoundly disturbing. Actually, according to human historical records, this is exactly how they work. When diplomatic solutions become inefficient, humans tend to implement what they called direct action. Define direct action, demanded Admiral K. Roth, though his predatory instincts were already providing several unwelcome possibilities. Well, Dr. Youthgol said nervously, human history is filled with examples. When their diplomats failed to prevent what they called World War I, they simply built weapons capable of splitting atoms and ended the conflict permanently. When trade negotiations became too complex, they created standardized global currencies and forced adoption through economic pressure. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Intelligence Chief Exaftos activated his communication array with visible reluctance. Speaker, we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human installations aren't just withdrawing from diplomatic functions, they're expanding. Expanding how? Morgantha asked, though she suspected the answer would be typically human in its scope and ambition. Construction projects have begun in 43 systems, where humans previously maintained peacekeeping stations. They're not asking permission. They're not filing environmental impact reports. They're just building. Building what? Asked Professor Exith, though at his age, he'd learned to fear human construction projects. Everything, Zaftos replied. Space elevators, orbital platforms, communication networks, manufacturing facilities. In some cases, they appear to be terraforming entire planets without consulting the local governments. Ambassador Veltar of the Vegans stood up shakily. His species had never fully recovered from the psychological trauma of having their war ended in 6 days by humans using mining equipment. What do they want? There must be something they want. That's just it, said Assistant Coordinator Yithmel, reviewing the latest intelligence reports. They're not demanding anything. They're not threatening anyone. They're just doing things. Such as, Morgantha prompted. Well, they've implemented a universal translation protocol across 17 systems without asking. They've standardized currency exchange rates for the entire outer rim. They've established what they call efficiency corridors for interstellar trade that have increased shipping speeds by 60%. And they didn't consult anyone about these. Improvements? Asked Commander Thresh of the Regelian hegemony. No one, Yithmel confirmed. They sent notifications after the fact. Each message was identical, for your convenience. We have implemented the following optimization. The chamber erupted into chaos as delegates began speaking simultaneously in dozens of languages. Emergency diplomatic protocols activated as several species attempted to contact their homeworlds, only to discover that human communication networks had somehow made their transmissions faster and more reliable than ever before. ORDER. Morgantha's voice boomed with the authority of eons, gradually restoring calm. What is the current status of human military forces? Intelligence Chief Exaftos consulted his displays with visible reluctance. Unknown speaker. Since the children incident 3 weeks ago, human fleet movements have become unpredictable. They appear to have vessels everywhere, but we can't track them using conventional methods. How is that possible? Demanded Admiral K. Roth. They've stopped using faster-than-light communications that we can monitor. Instead, they've implemented what appears to be instantaneous quantum entanglement networks. Our intelligence gathering has become essentially useless. Dr. Yithgol looked up from his files with the expression of dawning comprehension. Speaker, I believe I understand what's happening. According to human behavioral psychology, when they determine that existing systems are fundamentally inefficient, they don't reform them, they replace them entirely. Replace them with what? Morgantha asked, though she feared the answer. Systems that work, Yithgol replied simply. Humans don't see diplomacy as an end in itself. They see it as a tool for achieving specific outcomes. If the tool becomes less efficient than direct action, the implications hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Are you suggesting, Ambassador Silnara said carefully, that humans have decided that galactic civilization itself is inefficient? Before anyone could answer, the chamber's communication systems activated with an incoming transmission. Instead of Ambassador Chen, the display showed a human male in what appeared to be engineering coveralls, standing in front of a massive construction project that defied easy description. Good afternoon, Council members, the human said cheerfully. I'm Director Marcus Webb, United Earth Optimization Initiative. We've been monitoring your discussions, and we wanted to address your concerns. Director Webb, Morgantha managed. The Council demands an explanation for humanity's withdrawal from diplomatic protocols. Webb smiled, and somehow that expression was even more terrifying than Chen's diplomatic composure. Oh, that's simple. We realize that spending months debating the color of currency tokens, while people suffered from inefficient resource distribution, wasn't really helping anyone. But that's how civilization works, protested Zethkri. Careful deliberation, consideration of all viewpoints. Is that working for you? Webb interrupted gently. Because from our analysis, galactic civilization has the same territorial disputes, trade inefficiencies, and resource allocation problems it had 1,000 years ago. Meanwhile, our 6-month direct implementation program has eliminated interstellar hunger in the outer rim, reduced travel times by an average of 40%, and established real-time communication networks across the galaxy. The chamber fell silent. We're not abandoning diplomacy, Webb continued. We're just doing it differently. Instead of debating solutions, we implement them. If they work, everyone benefits. If they don't, we fix them. And if we object to your optimizations? Admiral K. Roth asked carefully. Webb's smile didn't waver. Then you're free to implement better solutions. Competition drives innovation, after all. The transmission ended, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. So, Professor Exithin said finally, humans have decided to govern the galaxy by making it work better? Apparently, Morgantha replied, staring at the reports of human construction projects spreading across the galaxy like a benevolent plague. They've concluded that traditional diplomacy is inefficient and have decided to skip straight to implementation. What do we do? Asked Yithmel. Morgantha considered the question while reviewing intelligence reports showing that human optimizations had resulted in measurable improvements to quality of life across dozens of systems. The humans weren't conquering the galaxy, They were reorganizing it into something that actually functioned. "We adapt," she said finally, "because whether we like it or not, they're probably right." In the depths of space, construction continued on projects that would reshape galactic civilization, guided by humans who had apparently decided that asking permission was less efficient than asking forgiveness.